Imagine for a moment the immense responsibility of carrying the hopes, dreams, and spiritual well-being of over 1 billion people on your shoulders. The role of the Pope is not just a title. It's a calling that stretches across continents and cultures, uniting people from every corner of the globe under a single faith. As the spiritual leader of the Catholic Church, you would become a beacon of hope and guidance for millions. Every word you speak, every gesture you make is watched and interpreted by the faithful, and your actions can inspire or comfort people in times of joy and crisis alike. Your voice would echo not just within the hallowed halls of cathedrals, but across nations, influencing global conversations about faith, justice, morality, and peace. The Pope's influence extends far beyond religious matters, often shaping the course of history itself. But have you ever wondered if someone like you, an ordinary person, perhaps with doubts and imperfections, could ever rise to such a position? Could you, against all odds, become the Pope? This question has fascinated and intrigued both Catholics and non-Catholics for centuries. The idea of ascending to the highest office in the Catholic Church seems almost mythical, a dream reserved for a select few. The papacy is wrapped in centuries of tradition, ceremony, and mystique. It's a role that feels both alluring and at the same time impossibly distant, almost as if it belongs to another world entirely. When most people picture the Pope, they imagine an elderly man dressed in white, a figure who seems far removed from the everyday struggles and experiences of ordinary life. The image is iconic, but it can also feel unapproachable. Yet, is the papacy truly out of reach for the average person? Is it a destiny reserved only for a chosen few, or could it be attainable for someone with humble beginnings? The answer may surprise you, and it challenges many of our assumptions. The truth is, the path to becoming Pope is not blocked by insurmountable barriers or impossible requirements. It is not a journey limited to those born into privilege or power. You don't need royal blood, vast fortunes, or a life spent in seclusion and prayer. The Catholic Church does not demand perfection or extraordinary status from those who would lead it. In fact, the requirements are surprisingly simple, and the Church's answer to the question of who can become Pope is more open than you might think. The journey to the papacy, while rare, is not beyond the reach of ordinary people with extraordinary faith and dedication. Here's a question that might surprise you. What does it actually take to become the Pope? You might imagine a long list of qualifications, years of study, or a lifetime spent climbing the church hierarchy. But surprisingly, there is only one official requirement to be elected Pope: being a baptized male Catholic. That's it. No secret handshake, no ancient bloodline, no hidden test. Just baptism. There's no official need for advanced theological degrees, and there's not even a minimum age set in stone. In fact, the rules are so open that, at least in theory, any baptized Catholic man could be chosen. Of course, in practice, the last time a pope younger than 50 was elected was way back in the 16th century. The Church tends to favor experience and wisdom, so most popes are older. But technically, youth isn't a barrier. And here's another twist. There's no requirement for prior service as a bishop or even as a cardinal. While most popes have held these positions, it's not a hard rule. Theoretically, someone could be plucked from relative obscurity, as long as they meet that one basic requirement. But before you start packing your bags for Rome, keep in mind, this doesn't mean just any Catholic man off the street could waltz into the Vatican and claim the papal throne. The process is far more complex and exclusive. The selection process, conducted by the College of Cardinals, is shrouded in secrecy and steeped in centuries-old tradition. The cardinals gather in a conclave, locked away from the outside world, to deliberate and vote in complete confidentiality. These cardinals, themselves appointed by previous popes, weigh countless factors, like a candidate's piety, intellect, leadership skills, and understanding of global affairs. They look for someone who can guide the Church through modern challenges, inspire faith, and represent over 1 billion Catholics worldwide. Yet despite all these considerations, the fact remains: the only official barrier to entry is baptism. That's the one unbreakable rule. This seemingly simple requirement speaks volumes about the Catholic Church's understanding of vocation. It's a reminder that, in the eyes of the Church, God can call anyone, regardless of their background, education, or status, to serve in the highest office. The door, at least in theory, is open wider than you might think. History is full of surprising stories of men who ascended to the papacy from unexpected backgrounds. The journey to the highest office in the Catholic Church is rarely straightforward, and often it is shaped by a complex web of family ties, political intrigue, and personal ambition. Over the centuries, the Vatican has witnessed the rise of popes from humble beginnings, as well as those from the most elite circles of European society. Take Pope Leo X, for example. Born Giovanni di Lorenzo de' Medici in 1475, he wasn't just any Catholic man. He was a Medici, a member of one of the most powerful and influential families in Renaissance Italy. The Medici family, renowned for their immense wealth and political clout, dominated Florence and played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural and political landscape of the era. Giovanni's upbringing was steeped in privilege, surrounded by art, learning, and the constant maneuvering of power. Known for their patronage of the arts and their political maneuvering, the Medici were hardly known for their piety. Their name was synonymous with both cultural brilliance and ruthless ambition. The family's support of artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci left an indelible mark on history, but their involvement in church affairs was often seen as self-serving. Yet Giovanni, groomed for power from a young age, found himself elected pope at the age of 37. His path to the papacy was paved with careful planning and the influence of his family, but it was also marked by personal intelligence and charisma. The conclave that chose him was a reflection of the times, where politics and faith were deeply intertwined. His papacy, though controversial, proved that even those born into privilege and power could be called to lead the Church. Leo X's reign was marked by lavish spending, grand artistic commissions, and significant political challenges, including the early rumblings of the Protestant Reformation. Despite criticism, he left a lasting legacy on the Church and the world. Leo X's story, like many others in papal history, highlights the unpredictable nature of the selection process. The election of a pope is never just about faith. It is also about the intersection of history, circumstance, and the mysterious workings of destiny. It reminds us that God often works in ways we least expect, choosing unlikely individuals to fulfill His purposes. The story of Pope Leo X is a testament to the idea that leadership can emerge from the most surprising places, and that the path to greatness is rarely simple or predictable. The idea of a Medici pope might seem glamorous, even enviable at first glance. But the papacy, despite its grandeur and influence, is not a position of earthly privilege. It is, first and foremost, a call to service. The Pope, though addressed as Your Holiness, carries the title Servant of the Servants of God, a stark reminder of the true nature of his role. This concept of servant leadership is deeply rooted in the teachings of Jesus Christ. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 11, Jesus tells his disciples, "The greatest among you will be your servant." This message, central to the Christian faith, takes on profound significance in the context of the papacy. The Pope, as the vicar of Christ on earth, is called to embody this spirit of humility and service, leading by example and putting the needs of the faithful before his own. Imagine, just for a moment, the weight of responsibility that comes with leading over 1 billion Catholics worldwide. The Pope, well, he grapples with complex theological issues, navigates geopolitical crises, and provides spiritual guidance in a rapidly changing world. He's a voice for the voiceless, always advocating for peace, justice, and the dignity of every human person. From issuing encyclicals on climate change to promoting interfaith dialogue, the Pope's decisions really do have far-reaching consequences, impacting not only Catholics but, honestly, the world at large. Becoming Pope means, well, embracing a life of sacrifice. Gone are the days of personal freedom and anonymity. The Pope's life, from that moment on, becomes one of constant scrutiny, public appearances, and, honestly, tireless dedication to the Church's mission. He must be willing to forego personal wealth, relinquish many personal freedoms, and dedicate himself entirely to the service of others. The papacy presents a fascinating paradox: immense power coupled with a call for radical humility. The Pope holds a unique position of authority, yet he is called to lead with compassion, understanding, and a willingness to serve those he leads. It is a delicate balance, requiring strength of character, unwavering faith, and a deep commitment to the teachings of Jesus Christ. After considering the weight of responsibility, the life of sacrifice, and the call to humility, would you still want to be Pope? It's a question worth pondering, isn't it? The papacy, far from a glamorous prize, is a heavy mantle to bear. It is a vocation reserved for those who feel a profound calling from God, a willingness to dedicate their lives entirely to His service. The papacy, in many ways, embodies the ultimate test of leadership, a call to serve, to guide, and to inspire, not with worldly power, but with the strength that comes from faith, humility, and love. It challenges us to reflect on our own understanding of leadership. What does it truly mean to lead? Is it about power and prestige? Or is it about service, sacrifice, and a willingness to put the needs of others before our own? These are questions that, honestly, resonate far beyond the walls of the Vatican, challenging each of us to consider how we can live out our own vocations with greater purpose and meaning.